Before getting involved or even introduced to the anti-sexual violence movement, there were a lot of misconceptions I had, because I think many of us do. Just with the way that social norms are and the way that we communicate about these issues, it's impossible not to have these preconceived notions that are very false and misguided.
I think for me, it was a lot of realizing that nobody is ever asking for it. Nobody is ever asking to be assaulted.
I guess my main two that I'm a little embarrassed that I was once in a place that I thought these things. Victim blaming was something that I participated in.
You know, a woman was assaulted after a night of drinking and she was wearing a short skirt, and when I was younger in high school, I felt like she was responsible in some way.
Questions like, well, why was she wearing that, and why was she out late at night by herself? Or, you know, she was kind of asking for it by going out on this date and doing these certain, you know, physical interactions with this person, but then not expecting him to want to go all the way. Stuff like that.
I think a lot of society taught me to believe that I had the power to prevent sexual assault by taking self-defense classes, by carrying a gun, mace, in general, by being a good girl, by not wearing short skirts, by not drinking and going out. But when I got to college, I liked doing those things, and I didn't always carry my mace with me. So it was very problematic, and I think somewhere inside of me I just thought that because I was a good person that nothing bad would ever happen to me. However, I did notice that a lot of my friends had experienced sexual assault and they were like me, so what did they do different that I didn't do?
Now that I'm more informed, I realize, oh my gosh, like, no, we don't judge a person who brings their wallet down the street and then gets robbed. We don't say, you were asking for it because you had your wallet in your pocket. What were you doing? And so for me, it was really buying into that belief that a woman should be shamed for her own assault, which was not her fault. And I realize now that a lot of it was me realizing that there's a difference between risk reduction and there's a difference between prevention. And so once I had sort of realized that that was a thing, I felt like it better informed how I approach and treat victims and survivors of sexual assault.
And I think it took me coming to STAR and learning the different dynamics of sexual assault and how perpetrators specifically target victims with low credibility, so victims that did fit the traditional stereotype of bad girls or girls that wore short skirts or did drugs or went out drinking with their friends. And so I really started to question the motives, not just of women, but of the perpetrators that were specifically targeting them and trying to violate and basically be predators. So I think it took me a while to understand the full dynamics, and I'm still developing that. I'm still trying to understand exactly why people perpetuate sexual violence. But I think it took a bigger understanding of culture and how our culture basically perpetuates this idea that victims can prevent rape, but we know that's not true. And we know that those excuses, those ways that we condone violence by saying that women have to act or dress or be a certain way, are actually excuses that perpetrators use. And they basically count on those excuses for people to believe in them and question victims and blame them for their assaults.
It was just a lot of changing that belief and realizing that there was ignorance and thinking that somebody had asked for something to happen to them just by their behavior or just by going out and having fun. You know, we should be more understanding when it comes to that because nobody ever asked for this to happen to them.
At Sexual Trauma Awareness and Response Center, our mission is to support survivors of sexual trauma, improve systems response, and create social change to end sexual violence. If you or someone you know have experienced an act of sexual violence, please call STAR's 24/7 hotline at 225-383-RAPE. For more information about STAR, please visit our website at www.brstar.org.